Hey friends, it is Tuesday. We were supposed to break ground on the landscaping project on Monday, but they're not actually going to be able to start until Wednesday because they need to button up that project. And I honestly think that that was a beautiful thing because on Sunday, let me bring you back to Sunday and I'm going to show you, we do it before we go. It was pouring down rain, but I needed to get out there and show you what it looks like out there now. And then I'm going to show you what the plans are, but when I was walking out there, I was getting a little bit stressed because the day that they came out and actually sprayed the lines on the plans of what's going to be out there, I wasn't super happy with the lines that I was seeing, and I was in the hospital that day. And so I was kind of having this panic moment because we were doing this huge project and it was going to be starting the next day, and I was like, I'm not sure I'm super happy with where these lines are. And so we text our landscaper and he says that they can't actually start until Wednesday, and so I can come and meet with you on Tuesday, which is what they did today. And Josh and I took that Sunday afternoon and we drove around the property and we just talked about a couple things, and we kind of got a better idea of what we want to do with our garden.
One thing I did a very poor job on when building out my last garden was documenting the process. The before was not documented very properly, and I don't want to make that mistake this time. So this is where we are starting. So we are not only going to be doing a massive garden for food production, but we're also going to be doing some landscaping as well. So those trees on that left-hand side that you just saw, those were the fruit trees that the previous owner planted. And this right here is the garden that the previous owner put in. Now, we have planted a few things in here. There are 9 raised beds in here, and 2 of them on the left-hand side, those 2 beds have garlic that we planted together in the fall. The rest of these beds here are strawberry plants that produced an abundance of strawberries. I have about 6 or 7 gallon size freezer bags in my freezer of strawberries from this garden that we are going to be processing here pretty shortly, and they were phenomenal. And we have about 5 blueberry bushes in here. This eventually is all going to be transformed, and we will transplant all those strawberry plants and those blueberry plants. But currently this is going to be more of a phase 2 process, but I kind of want to show you where we're starting and what is on the property and what we're going to be building out. So we're not only going to be building this massive food producing garden, but we're also going to be doing some landscaping projects to create an area that's going to be super inviting for my friends and family and for Josh and I to enjoy, so that we can enjoy being outside and I can have parties and host people and they can enjoy the food that we produce here on farm. Now, this is where the current chicken setup is. We plan to totally transform that. It's not functional currently for us. So hopefully this summer, we are going to be creating a really functional chicken coop. This area back here is where we're walking, and this is where the main food producing garden is going to be. It is going to be hopefully a garden that is going to produce an abundance for Josh and I, but also for hopefully friends and family, and for enough for me to be able to share with multiple people other than Josh and I. You're going to see some white lines here. That's indicating where the garden is going to be. Now, this is the before shot. So this is where the main food producing garden is going to be. You can see how it's on this massive slope. So we are going to be building some pretty significant terraces and one really big retaining wall. The last thing we would want to do is build out this garden and have it erode away down into my neighbor's property. So we are going to enlist the help of professionals that know how to grade properly. So you can see in this that it is pouring on this day. So we do really need to be conscientious of weather and making sure this is done properly. So here is the before, friends. I'm so excited you're along with the journey of this being built out, so that together we can see this unfold and we get to see the after.
So let me bring you in and show you kind of what we have sketched out here. Some of these things we won't exactly know what everything is going to, like the exact location, until they start actually moving dirt, which is what's going to start happening tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of prep, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to show you some before things, kind of what they're going to be kind of ripping out and doing tomorrow. So this here is the plans, and it's kind of hard to know exactly what you're looking at, but this is our house here. And then this is going to be the new backyard. There's going to be a big retaining wall between the backyard and where the garden is. This is going to be the huge garden here. And this is going to be a more landscaped kind of like yard situation that will have some grass and some pretty landscaping. We're going to have a big gravel road that's going to go between the yard and where the garden starts. Because we're on a slope, there's going to be this big retaining wall here. And then we have our garden. So there is going to be raised beds over here. These are 16 by 4 foot raised beds, which are the same size as the raised beds that I had at the last house. And there's going to be 12 of them. And then we've got a greenhouse over here. We're not going to be building the greenhouse probably till the fall or next spring. But the greenhouse, when I was going and walking the lines, was way over here. And when we talked to our landscaper, we decided to shift the greenhouse a little bit down the hill a little bit. And that'll make more sense as time goes on and you see this whole thing come together. We were going to have a big in-ground garden area here where we were going to have irrigation, but this is on a huge slope. And so what I've decided to do is get rid of this area for now, and we're going to take this irrigation and we're going to move it over here. And we're going to extend, because the garden was going to end here, we're going to extend the garden this way. Now these garden beds are going to be on a slope, and it's going to be like this gradual slope area. The beds themselves are going to be on the slope, and the paths are going to be the flat area. So over here, we're going to have slopes as well, and we will grow on the flat area on this in-ground bed area over here. So this is going to be wood chipped and an in-ground garden, and these are going to be our raised beds with our greenhouse over here. Our greenhouse is going to have eventually water and electric to it, and this is kind of overall the plan. It's not the most detailed thing here. This also has the irrigation that's going to be going in and all that stuff, but those nitty-gritty details are going to take some time. When I went out there on Sunday and we were doing that before footage, I had so many questions that came up, and I wanted to have our landscaper come out to answer some of those questions before we start. So it was actually a really good thing that they weren't able to start when they did, because we spent an hour or an hour and a half today going over and finalizing some of the plans and just kind of like figuring out what the first step is. So tomorrow, the first step is going to be removing quite a few trees, to prep the ground, and to remove a bunch of, boys stay inside, my dogs want to come out, a bunch of T-posts and fencing and things. So starting over here, this is going to be the backyard area. This tree is going, this tree here is staying, but this one here is going. So tomorrow they're going to be removing those 3 trees, and they're going to be taking out all of this fencing. So that's going to be quite a bit of work. This pond, this was a pond, but it leaked water, and so the previous homeowners did not have it going for a long time. So this is all going to be taken out. We're going to save this Japanese maple. And then unfortunately this tree here has to go. We are going to be replanting this tree. The reason this tree needs to go is it is one of the messiest trees I have ever seen. It produces all of this. Let me show you. These seed pods, all summer long, these seed pods dropped, and it was so messy on this whole entire patio. It has to be cleaned all the time. And so we are going to put in a pretty decent sized tree to replace this one, because it provides a ton of shade, but we're going to replace it with one that's not going to be so messy. And then they're also going to be ripping out all of this old landscaping and all of this, and this is all going to become kind of like a nice yard, pretty minimal. And these laurels, these big old trees, are going to be teared down tomorrow. So a lot of just prep before they can start building. We're going down here so you can see all of this is going to come out, and this is all just going to be lawn. This is going to be like our backyard area for when we have barbecues and people over. There can be an area that's kind of just like a manicured lawn that you would enjoy playing lawn games and having fun with barbecues and family and friends. And then you can see those are the laurels that are going to be teared out there. We're gonna reuse a lot of these boulders and things in the landscaping, but all of this needs to be teared out before we can do that. And then the garden is going to be this whole area right here. It's gonna be huge. So the raised beds are going to be in this section here, with the greenhouse being right here. We want the greenhouse to kind of hide my neighbor's house right there. And then starting about right here, over here, is where it's going to be the in-ground garden. So the farm and garden is going to be down the hill, and that's why we need to grade it and put some grading so that I can actually walk and I'm not walking down a hill, and we don't have erosion issues with rain and wind and stuff. And then we will have a big retaining wall that is going to separate the yard from the farm, and so that's going to be really nice. It'll be nice to have like two separate areas for there just to be some separation between the two things. So I'm so excited to bring you guys along on this whole huge, this is a massive undertaking. When you look on it on the paper, it doesn't look like a ton because it's all condensed, but this is going to take probably a solid 3 months to get the garden anywhere before I could actually plant a seed in the ground, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to take years to get it to where, you know, it eventually is going to be, but we are going to be able to have a garden this year. It's kind of the way that the timing worked out on all of this, even having him. The timing has been perfect. I think this afternoon I'm going to sit down and order a bunch of seeds because I haven't ordered any seeds yet. If you're interested where I purchased my seeds from, I can link my favorite seed companies down in the description box because I kind of get them from a ton of different places. And so we will be back tomorrow when the men get here to actually start the work. Breaking ground really is what it is. Good morning, friends. Today is a huge day. We are breaking ground on the garden. It's January 11th today, and it is crazy. I'm excited, I'm nervous, apprehensive, over the moon, happy, all the feelings right now because this is a big project, and I just want to make sure that it turns out well. I'm sure it will, but it's going to take a solid probably 2.5 to 3 months to get it to where we can plant something in the ground. So we're going to get a little bit of a late start on the garden this year, and that's totally fine, but I'm excited to take you along. The crew is here. It looks like they're doing kind of like a little powwow meeting. Today is mostly going to be, I think, kind of not like demolition. Like if you were to remodel a kitchen, the first day would be to like tear out all the old stuff. That's what today is going to be. My parents are coming over for dinner, so I need to get something out of the freezer, but it looks like I'm going to talk with the landscaper now. They are already starting to tear stuff out. We're going to go out there in just a second and hang out and watch them. But before we do that, I need to get some dinner out of the freezer so that we have some food for when my parents come over for dinner tonight. I was trying to think what I should pull out for a freezer meal. I was thinking Italian stuffed peppers because then I wouldn't have to cook any sides, but my mom doesn't like peppers. We just had lasagna, so I don't want to do that. We just had enchiladas, so I don't want to do that. I think I probably should have done enchiladas if I had thought through it well enough because that's what my dad would have really liked. My dad is not a big fan of curry, so what I think I want to do, I think I'm going to pull out some teriyaki chicken marinade. We'll throw this on the grill because it's a really nice day today. You know what, I think I'm going to pull, so I think there's only 8 chicken thighs in each one of those, and I want some leftovers. So I think I'm going to pull, there's going to be 2 of us, 2, 4, no, I'll just pull one out. I'm going back and forth I'm going to pull one of these out, and then all I have to do is make rice. And I prepped some green beans. I washed them and chopped them earlier, and we never ate them. So I want to go ahead and cook those. That would be really good and really easy because I don't have to do any prep work for dinner. So we'll get this thawing in the sink for maybe an hour or 2, and then I'll pop it in the refrigerator, and then it'll be marinated. Let me put baby Acre in the wrap, and we're gonna go outside and watch them start to tear stuff out. So it sounds like they are already getting started out there. So I got my coat on. I need to put on some boots, and it looks like they're starting in the front yard. So the goal this morning is to do a bunch of clearing and demo. So they're gonna start in the front and they're gonna clear all that, and we're gonna start kind of from like ground zero, no pun intended, because they're gonna be doing a lot of moving of dirt and things. And what they were asking me earlier today, that's why I had to run out here, is they were trying to figure out how they're gonna get their equipment around the back to remove some of the big trees that are in the back. And eventually we're gonna have a road, a gravel road like this, come through this old garden area right here. And there's gonna be a road, we're gonna put a gravel road right here. This is where we planted the garlic and where we have our blueberries and our strawberries. This eventually will be transformed into something else, but for now it's gonna stay the same. But we are gonna put this road in here. And so they were wondering if they could drive their equipment in here, or if they needed to drive it around this garden, or how they were gonna get their equipment into the back of the property. And because this is gonna turn into a road, if they mess up this grass, it's no big deal. So they're gonna be able to drive their equipment through here. We haven't spent any time hardly outside, and I'm so excited. The sun is on our face. Oh my goodness. It could not be a better day to get out here and do this. Oh, I could cry. I'm so excited to be outside again. Okay. So they're gonna drive back here. They're gonna take this fence out so that they can get their equipment back here. And then I think today's plan is to get rid of these laurels and all of this fencing. I mean, I have no idea how much they'll get to today, but we gotta get all this fencing out because we're gonna put all new fencing in. And so these big trees are going to, at some point, I don't know if today's the day or not, but oh, it's so nice out here. Let's just get a little bit of perspective. So this is where we come around this backside. All of this is going. I never come over here, so it feels good to be outside. And it's just gonna be a lot of demo today. This tree here is going. That tree, this one's staying, this is a beautiful tree. And the one back there is going. Another thing they're going to be working on today, or early in this week, is removing all this fencing. We're going to be replacing all this fencing. We will keep all the T-posts. I have a huge love of T-posts for the garden, so those aren't going to go to waste or anything. We can certainly repurpose those. And we could either turn them into the new chicken coop, use them for the chicken coop, or we can use them to trellis tomatoes and peppers, or not peppers, green beans, all those types of things. The chickens are right here. We really, really soon need to figure out a better solution for them because I don't want them digging up or working around the landscapers. Right now, these girls are just hanging out over here on this huge area. They like to scratch in this. Hey girls. They can't get through these gate. They can't get through the gate though, as much as they would want to. They can go all the way around the house if they want, but they just come up here and then say hi and then they'll go back down. In a matter of 20 minutes, they have completely cleared this front area.
This tree was something we had to decide whether we were going to keep or get rid of. And sadly, this tree did not make the keep list, even though it's a very, very beautiful tree. You're going to see in just a minute how this really opens this area up once it's gone. If you've been with us when we've been working on the interior of this house, there is a sunroom, and I love to sit in that sunroom and look out in the mornings. And this tree unfortunately blocked quite a bit of the view, and you can see once it's gone how it really opens this up, and you can see those mountains in the back a whole lot better. So we will be replacing every tree we remove on this property is going to be replaced by a couple fold. Once they got the tree removed, they started removing this fencing, and even just that too really opened up this backyard, and it's just been a fun transformation to see. They are going to take all of the materials to a recycle center.
It is only 11 a.m. and they have made some serious progress. They are taking their first load to the yard debris place where they can be turned into compost. They've got this whole front area completely cleared out. I'm so impressed with their efficiency. They have one of the 3 trees that are going to be going down in the backyard, and they've removed a ton of that fencing. It's incredible how open it's feeling back there, and I'm just so happy with it. The chickens were just up here, and then I scared them off when I came up here. They're a little bit unsure of what's going on. This front area has been their favorite place to hang out since we don't have like a chicken run area yet. That is a huge priority for us to figure out an area. Josh and I need to take a weekend and really just devote to make a chicken run like we did at the last house. Even if it's not permanent, we can't be having the chickens in the areas that they're going to be working once they start putting stuff back. It'll be a while before things start getting put back, because you know it's going to look worse before it's going to look better. But wow, so much progress has been made. Even this front area, it's just shocking how much this has opened up, and we're going to clean it up and it's just going to look so nice. I have not eaten any breakfast yet today. I've been focusing on other things. So I'm going to sit down while they're gone, and I am going to eat some breakfast. The baby is down for a nap right now, so it'll be perfect time for me to take a minute to enjoy some breakfast. I wanted to come show you how much the girls are enjoying. Even though we picked or tore out some of their favorite bushes to hide around, they still are enjoying picking any sort of bugs or anything that may have been disrupted during the tear out process. You can see how much better they're looking. That chicken right there is still getting in her feathers, but I think the rest of them already have replaced all their feathers and they're really fluffy because it's cold. Still coming in, but she's looking really good. They all replaced all their feathers this fall. That's why they're not laying eggs. So we're still waiting for them to come back. The landscapers are back and they are getting ready to cut down the laurels, which are these huge trees. We went back and forth whether we were going to keep or not, but they definitely need to go because they will open up this whole area and it'll create so much more space. It's these massive, they're trees, but they're kind of like tree bushes. So these are the next trees to go. They're currently sharpening their chainsaws so that they can cut those down. Eventually we are going to put in some raised bed type situation up here, like in the backyard area. So this area that they're working on mostly today is what we're turning into what we're going to call like our backyard, our landscaped lawn, our manicured area. Because the main garden is going to be way, way, way down here. Every time I need to harvest some lettuce, maybe some herbs, things that I need to harvest just quickly for dinner, I'm not going to want to run all the way down to the main garden to do that. So I'm going to have a kitchen garden up here, and that will probably be somewhere along here. We'll build some beds, we'll use our green stalks and things like that, so that if I need some basil or some lettuce to create a quick salad or whatever it might be, I'm not running all the way down to the main garden. I still will grow big quantities of herbs down there to preserve for, you know, the whole entire year. Hopefully that'll be the goal. But for just quick, easy meals, we're gonna have some sort of garden beds up here, but I don't know exactly where those are gonna be quite yet. I'm waiting for them to get started while they continue to work on their chainsaw. And I am looking at my garlic beds. I see a couple things that are a little bit sad. I hope this isn't a sign for all the garlic that's in this bed, but there are 2 of them that are dug out of the ground. So I'm gonna need to get some gloves on and rebury those. And hopefully we will have a garlic harvest this summer. Friends, if you're worried about the fact we're cutting trees down, don't worry, I'm in the same boat. We agonized over which trees to cut down and if we should even cut any trees down, because the idea of cutting a tree down is a little bit heartbreaking. But I don't want you to worry because we do plan to replant trees exponentially. One of our goals this year is to get this backyard area put together so that we can host friends and family. I'm super passionate about feeding the ones I love, and I want to have a really nice place to be able to have people over this summer to enjoy our property. So phase 1 is getting the backyard and the garden in, because I do want to have a massive garden this summer, and I don't have anywhere to plant tomatoes and peppers and basil and all the things. So we are going to be working this year on getting the backyard and the garden in. We are going to be planting in the backyard area some ornamental trees, and we're going to be replacing some of these trees. But our ultimate goal also is to plant a bunch of fruit trees because I want to have a big orchard. So don't worry that even though you see us taking trees down, we are going to be replacing them exponentially on this property, and I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be very strategic though on where we place all the trees to maximize our view so we don't block the view. And we are going to be planting ones that aren't so messy, because that's the problem. Some of the ones we have on this property currently are very messy. And we are going to be planting ones that are going to be producing food for us. So it's going to be really fun to watch all of this come together. I just had the thought, while they're out there working really hard, I'm going to bake up some of these snickerdoodles that we made earlier. We actually made these last year. So I want to be able to gift them a nice, warm, sweet treat and thank them for all they've done today. They're going to be around for a while, so I thought it'd just be nice just to give them a little sweet treat. So these are some snickerdoodles. They're completely frozen. I wish you could smell these. They smell absolutely incredible. They're perfect, I think. I'm going to take them out and let them cool on the cookie sheet for just a minute. I kind of like to underbake my snickerdoodles just a little bit, so I'm going to let them finish cooking on the cookie sheet. Once these cooled, I packaged 2 cookies in each bag, and at the end of the day, I'm going to bring each one of them a package of cookies. And I just ate one, and it was absolutely delicious. I've been inside working, and now it's time to go back out there and see how much progress has been made. So they have the truck almost completely full. Wow, look at the transformation on this. I just gave them their cookies. Their truck is full. And so this one last, these are called laurels. Laurel is going to be cut down tomorrow, so that'll be exciting to see that. So it already looks crazy different. It's opening up this area immensely. We went back and forth whether we should cut those down, but just in the whole grand scheme of the way that this whole area is going to look, those unfortunately needed to come down. and it's gonna really open this whole area up, which is exactly what we want. So we bought this property for the view. It's kind of gloomy out here now. It was beautiful earlier, but there is an incredible view, and so that is why it's exciting that it's gonna be opened up. So my dad, I think, is on his way. He's gonna be here shortly, and then we're gonna cook up some dinner. I just talked to my dad on the phone, and they are gonna be here in just a little bit. So Orbit, please stay inside, bud. Stay inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the grill started so that we can make dinner. That teriyaki chicken that we pulled out of the freezer. It's a little chilly out here, but it's definitely warm enough to use the grill. I used it the other day, and I'm really excited to get back into using the grill. I kind of got out of the habit when, I don't know, I just kind of got out of the habit. So I'm going to get it kind of heating up and warming. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of the progress that they made. They made some huge progress. We already looked at the laurels, and then they took down this fencing that went all along here that was just with some T-posts and this wire. So we are going to put another fence up, but the goal is to put the fence down the hill a little bit so you're not looking directly at the fence. And we're going to put something that's a little bit more established. It is going to be see-through. I think it's going to be, we're going to use cattle panels so you can see through it because we don't want to block the view, but we definitely want something to keep the dogs in, so we can definitely have like a backyard dog, kid, just like family area that's different from the garden area. So we can kind of, you know, demarcate and separate those two things. I'm really excited about that. I'm so excited for you to be here along with this journey, and the fact that we're starting to build out the garden. This is my passion, it's my love, and I feel like I'm a brand new gardener. I am excited for what this year holds. I'm nervous about it because we're in a new place. I was at that last garden for 3 growing seasons, and I feel like I was just starting to get the hang of growing food in that environment. And now we're starting all over. And so I'm glad that you're here so we can kind of be in this together and we can learn and grow, no pun intended, together. I am going to be cooking dinner. We are in the middle of pantry challenge right now, so I'm going to make that in that video, pantry challenge week 2. And I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. And as we build out this garden, I feel like this garden is not just my garden, it's our garden. This is where I met you all, in the garden, and it's just a beautiful place. And I'm just so excited for us to be able to grow this garden out together. So thank you for being you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. If you enjoyed this, I can pop some of my other videos. Actually, up here I can put a whole house tour if you missed, you know, kind of seeing when we purchased this piece of property and like what we were envisioning then, and seeing if it's any different than now. I should probably go back and watch that video and see what I was thinking back when we bought this place. And then down here I can just put a cooking video where we spend time in the kitchen, which is our other passion, where I love to hang out with you as well. So thank you for being you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.